All right, guys. So one of the things that I don't see much talk about right now, even though it's kind of a gigantic deal to me, is that something's going to happen with Trump's 91 criminal charges now that he's president-elect and he will be president again. Namely, the criminal cases are just thrown out. They're just done. They're over. So this is something that I wish the media reported on more heavily beforehand. I wish they gave people all the specifics and the information of the crimes that he committed. They didn't do it. They talked about it like the day we learned about the crimes, but I don't even know if they ever went through the indictments. I don't even know if they ever gave people a digestible explanation of what he did and why it's bad. But now that he's president-elect and he will be president, the criminal cases are flat out dead in the water. Now, you might be thinking, well, Kyle, why is that? That doesn't make much sense to me. The answer is very simple. The only way to go after a president is impeachment. And if you impeach through the House, which, by the way, Trump was impeached through the House twice, but if you impeach through the House, then it gets to the Senate, where you need a supermajority of senators in order to say, okay, we're going to remove you from office. And that would be the punishment for a president who's impeached. Is it goes through the House, there's a trial in the Senate. If a supermajority in the Senate says you're done, you just get kicked out of office. Criminal charges are a totally separate thing, right? But what's for sure is there's already a precedent in the U.S. where you cannot criminally go after a president because, the idea is, hey, there could be countless frivolous lawsuits and you don't want the president spending all of his time fighting back against those lawsuits. So now the 91 criminal charges against him are over and done with. So let me break this down for you a little more, because at the end, I'm going to give you a little bit of a silver lining here, but there's an asterisk by the silver lining. So the criminal cases against Trump. One of them was, of course, the classified documents case. And that was, ladies and gentlemen, the most slam dunk case of all time. The evidence was as high as Mount Everest. He stole classified, top secret documents. There's very clear reporting and even audio tapes of him bragging about the contents of classified secret documents to billionaires at Mar-a-Lago. One of them involved talking about nuclear secrets to some Australian billionaire. He very famously in the Mar-a-Lago ballroom had boxes stacked to the ceiling of classified documents. He also had them in his bathroom at Mar-a-Lago. The other thing is they were able to catch him red-handed doing obstruction of justice with those documents. What he would do is he would take them from one room and tell his workers to shift them to another room, and then he had them destroy videotapes of them moving the boxes. And, there were people who were willing and ready to testify that Trump had told them, you got to move those boxes, which is basically him admitting to obstructing justice. He basically held off the FBI and the Justice Department for like a year when they were like, hey, we're going to need those documents back. And he handed over some, but he kept hiding others. And it's the most slam dunk case I've ever seen in my life. This is not a situation where it's like, oh, a president accidentally took one box of classified documents and nothing important is in there and he hands them right back over when the FBI says we need those back. This is him taking countless classified documents and doing wildly illegal things with them, things that should be state secrets. He's just blabbering about them all over the place and obstructing justice and not handing them back over, and it's just clear crimes. Well, what happened in that case is it went to a MAGA judge. The MAGA judge is Aileen Cannon. Aileen Cannon basically threw every wrench into the machinery and blocked it 15 ways to Sunday and effectively threw the case out. And her final argument dismissing the case was like, even the idea of a special prosecutor, which is what Jack Smith is, that's unconstitutional. So literally any and all special prosecutors are unconstitutional, even though we've had countless special prosecutors over countless decades with countless presidencies. Doesn't matter, it's unconstitutional. She threw that out. So the number one slam dunk case against Trump was already thrown out before the election. But there were other cases. So the one that is probably the most prominent and the one that was the most hopeful was, of course, the Jack Smith case against Trump. So the charges for that one, this is all over January 6th. This is all over the fake elector slate. This is all over attempting a coup and an insurrection. But the charges were conspiracy to defraud the United States. And the idea behind that is, the results of the election in 2020 and you just want to throw out millions of votes to keep your ass in power. That is defrauding the United States of America, lying about the outcome of the election. Conspiracy to obstruct an official proceeding. That was when the January 6th mob made it so they couldn't certify and validate the election at the original time. They had to postpone it because of the angry mob storming the Capitol and committing violence. There's obstruction of an attempt to obstruct an official proceeding, similar charge to the last one, and conspiracy against rights, which again is, I believe it's a civil rights era law, and it goes back to the idea that you are you're denying people their rights if you're taking their votes and saying, I'm discounting this and I'm saying I won, right? So here's the thing, guys. And again, this is where the media drives me crazy, because it was incumbent on them to explain this stuff to people and make it clear. And if they had done that, would the election potentially have been different if this is something they talked about day in and day out and really highlighted how horrible this stuff is? Maybe it would have been, right? It's a counterfactual. We can never know. But this is for sure, they didn't talk about this almost at all. So Trump acknowledged to one of his co-conspirators, this is all in the Jack Smith indictment. It's all available to read publicly. Trump acknowledged to one of his co-conspirators that the rigged election claims were, quote, crazy. So in other words, Jack Smith is saying he knew he didn't win the election and he still tried to steal it anyway. When Trump tried to get Mike Pence to overturn the results, and Pence said no, Trump said, quote, you're too honest, Mike. Again, further evidence, he knows he's lying when he says he won. Trump worked with co-conspirator 4 to open sham election crime investigations, where they would have bogus claims and then use that to try to seize voting machines and things of that nature. This is all on the record. Trump forced the Justice Department to send letters to the states fraudulently saying that they've identified significant concerns that may have impacted the outcome of the election. This is something Bill Barr would have testified to, and this is something Bill Barr refused to do, even though Trump was twisting his arm. This was all laid out in the indictment. This is from the indictment. Quote, on January 6th, as violence ensued, the defendant and co-conspirators exploited the disruption by redoubling efforts and trying to convince members of Congress to further delay certification based on false claims. So in other words, as violence was unfolding at the Capitol, Trump and his staffers were on the phone with senators and congresspeople saying, I know this looks ugly. We don't care. When it comes up for a vote for certification of Joe Biden, we want you to vote against it. Again, all of this is laid out. All of this is crystal clear. Co-conspirator 5 had a memo about the fake electors and referred to it as the fraudulent elector memo and fraudulent elector instructions. So in other words, Republicans now are doing revisionist history, and they're saying these weren't fake electors, these weren't fraudulent electors, these were alternative slates of electors. Internally, they were describing it as fraudulent electors. So in other words, they knew they were lying. They knew there wasn't a chance that, hey, maybe the count got wrong and we'll recount it and Trump will win and we'll have the alternate slates. The secretaries of states and the governors in the 7 swing states, they all said it's over. Biden won. And they came up with fake electors to say, no, we're going to pretend like Trump won. On December 13th, co-conspirator 1 and co-conspirator 5 had a conversation where they decided the plan is no longer to do fake electors in case Trump wins, but to do it no matter what, even if he loses. And the same day, a senior White House advisor in a meeting with Trump and 2 of the co-conspirators said, I don't know who wants to put their name on this thing because it's, quote, certifying illegal votes. This is all Trump and his staffers saying, we are lying, we are trying to steal the election. It is as clear can be. And then, of course, what ended up happening in the states of Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, New Mexico, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, they had their fake elector slates. And by the way, a lot of those fake electors ended up going to prison because what they did was a crime. How can you send them to prison, but the guy who orchestrated the whole illegal plot, now he's president of the United States and none of this matters anymore? This is incredible, man. On January 5th, after Trump pressured Pence to overturn the election and after he wouldn't, Trump issued a statement where he said, quote, the VP and I are in total agreement that the VP has the power to act. This was his last-ditch effort to try to twist Mike Pence's arm to do it, to overturn the results of a free and fair election. And co-conspirator 1 and 2 talked at the rally at January 6th and knowingly lied because they previously admitted the truth behind the scenes. So in other words, they were saying the election's fraudulent, the election is fake, but behind the scenes there was a lot of evidence of them knowing, no, we know it's fake. We know we're lying. So all of these charges relative to January 6th, relative to defrauding the United States, relative to the fake elector slates, they're all gone now. They're all gone. Now, I told you at the very end I'd give you a silver lining. Here's your silver lining, but this isn't much of a silver lining, but it's some silver lining. The civil cases where Trump has already been found liable, it's over. It's done. He has to pay that money. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. There's no law or rule or constitutional objection to a former president or even a current sitting president having to pay out civil penalties. So remember, Donald Trump was found liable for sexual abuse relative to E. Jean Carroll, and he has to pay out defamation based on that sexual abuse claim. So he owes a lot of money there. And then also, you got the New York case. Remember the New York case? He got hundreds of millions of dollars in fines over tax fraud and insurance fraud and business fraud and bank fraud. All that stuff he still has to pay out on. But here's the thing. Even the criminal case where he's already a convicted felon, now there's going to be no sentencing for that. It's done. It's on pause, right? It's over. So even though he's already been found guilty and he's a convicted felon, there's going to be no justice. None. Because he's president and now he's protected. So how much money is he going to have to pay out? According to CNBC, he's not off the hook for $570 million in civil fines. Now, here's the thing. Normally this is where we're like, good, he's getting some comeuppance, he has to fucking pay. He deserves to have to pay with all these crimes. It finally got caught, right? But here's my question to you guys. Where the fuck do you think he's going to get that money from now that he's president of the United States again, or president-elect of the United States? Here's my concern, and this should be your concern too. Donald Trump has connections all around the world to foreign billionaires and foreign governments, and we already know he's got this massive, colossal deal with the government of Saudi Arabia to have the live golf events at his courses. We already know Jared Kushner has deals with Israeli banks. We already know all this stuff. There are deep financial ties between Trump and foreign billionaires and foreign governments. The government of Qatar and Oman. Trump is working on a big deal with the government of Oman, and he was while he was campaigning for president this time. So how do you think that $570 million is going to get paid off? I'll tell you. They will find a way to back channel the money to him. Some foreign billionaire or multiple foreign billionaires or multiple foreign governments, Saudi Arabia, the government of Israel. Remember, Jared Kushner got $2 billion from the government of Saudi Arabia in the most corrupt deal of all time. So how do you think this money's going to get paid off? I'll tell you how it's going to get paid off. Saudi Arabia or Israel or Oman or Qatar or some other foreign country or some other foreign billionaire will back channel the money to Donald Trump through some semi-legal means, right? And that's how they'll pay it off. Remember, guys, when Trump was running for president, he randomly started hawking $100,000 watches. And then you go read the page on his website where he's selling those watches, and it says, actually, these pictures that you're seeing here are not the real watches. These are just for promotional purposes. The real watches haven't been made yet, and there's no timeline for delivery for the watches. What? So the theory is this is literally just a giant foreign money laundering scheme where foreign billionaires and foreign governments will send him money, and this was to try to get him elected, right, for campaign contributions. And then now that he's in office, they're all going to get paid back, guys. Nobody's happier than Saudi Arabia. Nobody's happier than the government of Israel. Nobody's happier than foreign billionaires. Nobody's happier than those people. And so that $570 million, it's going to get paid off. But it's going to get paid off in the most disgusting way imaginable. It's going to be a disgusting backroom deal that involves Trump selling his soul yet again to foreign billionaires and foreign governments. And then watch on the policy front. Because I guarantee you Saudi Arabia gets whatever they want. I guarantee you Israel gets whatever they want. I guarantee you the billionaires in this country, as well as abroad, will get whatever the fuck they want. He's going to do more tax cuts for the rich. He's already talking about that. More deregulation, let corporations run wild. And then we come full circle, ladies and gentlemen, to this. This guy was never anti-establishment. He was never pro-worker, ever. Look at his record the last 4 years he was in. He was never those things. He just bamboozled everybody into thinking he's anti-establishment and pro-worker. And now they're about to find out the hard way. That's not true. And so how do you beat somebody like Donald Trump? Expose the real narrative. His narrative is bullshit. His narrative is Hollywood cultural elites are destroying this country, and immigrants are destroying this country, and Muslims and other minority communities, sexual minorities like trans people, right? They're destroying the country. No, they're fucking not. They're in the same fucking boat as you are. They're in the same boat as you are. You know who's really destroying this country? Billionaires like Donald Trump. Billionaires like Donald Trump, massive corporations, big money donors. They have bought our government, and they're using our government to do their bidding and screw over you, good, regular, normal, working people who are just trying to get by and pay the bills. So eventually people will learn the truth, and they'll learn the real narrative. I'm sorry, but the country we live in is not the one Donald Trump pretends it is. It's not that immigrants have their boot on the neck of working Americans. No, they're in the same fucking boat as you. The one who has their boot on the neck of you, it's Donald Trump and his billionaire buddies and the foreign governments he's in bed with. And now you're about to find out this $570 million, it's going to get paid off. But it's going to get paid off in a further illegal way. But is it really illegal now that the Supreme Court said Trump has immunity and can basically do whatever the fuck he wants as long as it's an official act? You can make a stretch of an argument for anything being an official act. So it's never been more rough than this, guys. And final point. For real, fuck the media. Fuck mainstream media and fuck so-called independent media, new media. You're not fucking new media. You're new corporate media. I'm sorry, but Joe Rogan giving fucking Donald Trump a hot stone massage and a happy ending and pretending like it's, oh, bro, I'm better than mainstream media. Look, I coddled Trump's nutsack for 3 hours. See, I'm serious. I just want to get to know him as a person, bro. Okay, well, I'm sorry, but it's a little bit of a different standard. You have a little bit more responsibility when this is a guy who's committed 91 crimes and is insanely corrupt and is a war criminal and is a torturer. You can't just sit there and fucking play patty cakes with him. So old media sucks because they didn't teach you about these Trump indictments and Trump criminal charges. They didn't give you the actual information. So old media sucks. And new media sucks because they played patty cakes with Donald Trump because he's got a larger-than-life personality and he was willing to go on their fucking podcasts, right? What a disgusting media landscape. Jesus Christ. So anyway, there you have it. 91 criminal charges, he got away with it. This might be the biggest example in history of doing countless crimes and just getting away with it.